Can't everybody stop for 10 minutes? I mean, everybody seems that that's the only... Everybody, can we stay? I mean, it's not that much to ask. Is that when everybody has to move when I'm trying to concentrate? I mean, that's so rude. I can't believe it. Why does everyone all of a sudden have to move? That 2 hours to move around. Wait 10 minutes. I'm sorry to explode, my guy, but it's like no one's ever worked before. I actually can't believe what I just saw.
Radio guys who don't have time for the facts.
I heard a dial tone. And there were 7 people. I mean, we need to use the studio for 15 minutes.
Guys are off to a great start, don't you think?
Hey, buddy, I'm not paying you to hear your thoughts on life.
Well, I have a microphone, and you don't.
So you will listen to every word I have to say.
I know that you do some terrible, terrible things, and I can prove that you do these terrible things, and sure enough, contained in the package was stuff to prove that I do terrible things.
Excuse me, is that your nose or did the bus park on your face?
I just love the way you talk.
Hail to the king, baby. Don't call me stupid.
Oh, right. To call you stupid would be an insult to stupid people.
Victory is mine. Got news for you, dude.
I'll use small words that you'll be sure to understand, you warthog-faced buffoon.
The guilty pleasure offered by the existence of the sideshow Bob is simple and understandable. 99 times out of 100, nearly every time we partake of the movable falafel feast, he serves us nothing but comedy, farce, slapstick, unconscious self-mutilation, the Sisyphus of morons, if you will. But this is the 100th time out of 100. It is not funny at all. That's on the record and documented. Americans deserves better than the sideshow Bob of commentators. You all do.
Well, I think you folks have a real fine show, and it's going to be successful just as soon as people find out what time it's on.
Oh, they're terrible. They're so terrible.
You want them to run through it again?
No, let's just move on. We have a lot to do.
All right, here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get it on. Come on.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Terrible.
What are you doing to me? He'll miss the opening. This is the most important number in the show.
This show's broken, has not even begun yet. Good. This show's unbearable.
It's the Joel Oriend Show.
I can hardly wait.
Today's worst person in the world.
Joel, I love you, and please behave yourself. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my son, Joel Oriend.
Well, I think we're coming to you with the modern marvel of technology and the social distancing rules and regulations. I am at the farmhouse studios, overlooking the cows out in the field right now. The farmhouse studio, where I am located, and I believe we have Tanner. Tanner is located, I believe, I'm going to guess, Tanner, you're located in your bedroom at your house. Is that correct? With like Backstreet Boys and Homer Simpson and other posters like that on the wall?
You're close. I'm underneath my bedroom. I am in my basement, set up on a ping pong table, so I'm close. I'm underneath my bedroom, but I'm not in there, and there are no posters on the walls, just white.
Okay. All right. So Tanner is at his house. I am at my house. We are doing social distancing. As I said, I'm at the farmhouse. Don't worry, I'm not a farmer. That is way too much hard work for me. That's why I'm in radio. But I live near a farm and on a farm, as my father-in-law is a hard-working farmer. And so overlooking the beautiful view. Normally, we're high atop Ashpaw Hill, looking over the city landscape of Hornell, but this time we're separated, which is good. I don't know anybody that's enjoying this isolation other than maybe Carmelo Anthony. There was no one that liked isolation basketball more than Melo. But so Tanner, walk me through the scene. So you're in your basement on the ping pong. What are you wearing, Tanner? Are you in your PJs?
I'm wearing the same thing as usual. I still got up, took a shower this morning. I have a Master of Puppets t-shirt, Metallica. I got my my sweatpants on, got some slides, so it's just business as usual. I figured you would say something like, "Oh, that's what you normally wear, so no difference there." But yep, I'm rocking my normal attire. It's just business as usual, except we're here in the basement. Just a little change of scenery, but I am still me.
Please tell me you're wearing at least socks with those slides.
Oh, yes,
I hope
yes.
you okay, all right, because listen, I have a lot of weird quirks and stuff, but I just do not like when guys wear sandals or flip. I don't know why. It just freaks me out. It just skeezes me out. Like you go to the store and they're in line and you see their hairy hobbit-like toes. And I actually think, Tanner, I actually think the coronavirus was started by men wearing flip-flops. Is that correct? I believe that actually could do that, correct?
It sounds plausible. I mean, we'll have to get some scientific research. Maybe we'll have to do a study and present our findings for next show, but you might be onto something there.
It's just, and I don't mind. It's weird because I don't mind when women do it. I wear shoes in the summer. Now, I'm not like my son who wears like work boots all summer long, but I'll wear like, maybe penny loafers or something, but you never see. I'm lucky if I take my socks off when I go to bed. If I could chop my feet off and just walk on stumps, I would probably do that. But so that just skews me out. So I'm glad you're wearing socks, and now you know the rules. When we get together, when social distancing is over, make sure you wear socks with your slides, at least if you have to do it.
I'm glad that you bring that up because my dad's girlfriend is the opposite. She doesn't like when people wear socks and slides. I think that's part of the reason why I started doing it, but now that I have that validation, I will continue to do it.
Now, I will say what I do need is more social distancing from my refrigerator, because being stuck at home, I'm very close to my fridge. I have put on like the quarantine 20 here because we've been in the house. So I just can't wait till this gets over. And it just doesn't seem like any end is in sight. And I know it's so frustrating, right? Because whether you want to go to work or you want to go outside and you want to go and eat and you want to go, to birthday parties and stuff like that. And we want to see sports, right, on TV. But that means, you got to have crowds and stuff. And I know it's so frustrating. But the more we try to do that and we try to dip our toe in the water, the more this just perpetuates, right? So I just feel like while we're socially distancing, right, and isolating and quarantining ourselves, and we feel, maybe separated and a little distant from each other, well, that's what we need to do. But what we need to think of, right, is even though we're not together, while we're not together, we're being one. Because by staying apart and fighting this thing and being quarantined, we're actually being one with fighting this virus and this enemy that we cannot see. Like, I know a lot of people are like, yeah, that thing's come around my house, I'm going to shoot it. Well, but the problem is you can't, it's not like a woodchuck running around your front yard. You just can't see it. That's the downfall of it, right? And you don't know sometimes you have it until it's too late. I just read a story about a woman that works at a radio station in New York City. She's a reporter. She knows about this stuff. She went to her mother's 90th birthday party, and now she has it. Her mom has it. A couple people from the party have it. They passed away. I know you want to have birthday parties, but it's just not the time. Like, there was a woman in Buffalo who just celebrated her 100th birthday, and she was out on the porch waving, and people would drive by and honk their horn. That's a good idea, because that's really, it's really all we can do. So I get people want to press forward, like the WWE. The WWE is going to hold WrestleMania. UFC, Dana White is trying to hold the UFC 249. And while I applaud them for wanting to give people something to look forward to and watch, you know, it's not just two people. Now, if the UFC was doing like two people in a basement with just like a single camera, that like Kimbo Slice videos, like that's fine. But you have more than two people. Same with, you know, WrestleMania. You just don't have two wrestlers and a ref in a ring. It takes more people to do that stuff. And so I just don't know. I mean, Tanner, are you for it? Do you want to see things like that? Or are you against it? What do you feel about these guys trying to, you know, plow forward and bring people some entertainment during this time?
No, I think you're right. You bring up a good point that, you know, all you might see on the TV is, you know, two wrestlers and the referee maybe, but there's a lot of other moving parts. You got to have staff on hand to get everything set up and things like that. Maybe you have to have announcers, and they have their own people to do stuff for them. And, you know, there's a lot of other people involved. So even if you hold an event without fans, there's still a lot of moving parts, and you have to figure a lot of people coming in contact with each other, which is a good way to spread this thing. So, you know, in theory, it sounds like a good idea. You know, try and give people something to look forward to in this dark time. But as far as the logistics and the semantics of it go, I just don't think it makes sense for what our common goal is, which is to eradicate this thing.
So I've heard that the NBA and the NHL are looking at this. So in China, the CBA, the Chinese Basketball Association, they are looking to try to start up their season again. And what they want to do is move to a city in the south part of China that doesn't have as high of an infection rate. And they want to take over a city and make it a bubble. So the NBA and the NHL is looking at this in regards to trying to take over a college town that is shut down, right, with a big enough venue, right, and you bring all these teams in, and they stay in the dorms, right, and they don't leave the college campus, and they use the ice hockey rink for the NHL, and they use the basketball court for the NBA, and there's no fans, right, and they all stay there. But again, that sounds great, and people are all excited about it. But first, everybody's got to get quarantined for at least 2 weeks. Then, again, it's not just 5-on-5. You got 12 guys on each team. You've got a coaching staff. You've got trainers. You're going to have, if you're broadcasting it, you've got announcers. You've got cameramen. You've got engineers out in the truck. It can be done, but it is going to be a huge undertaking if they do that. And if one person gets it, if one person goes in and they didn't know they had it, it's going to spread like wildfire in that bubble, in that Olympic Village sort of setup. So, again, would you be okay with something like that if they tried to set up an Olympic Village or Pro Village in some desolate college town?
Probably not, because, again, you know, like you said there's a lot of moving parts. You know, it's not just the players. You said, you know, you got the coaching staff, you got trainers, you got potential broadcasters, and if someone comes in and they don't know they have it, then, you know, things are going to be shut down for even longer than they would be originally. So I think, you know, it's better in this situation not to throw caution at the wind and to just play it safe, because this is a pretty big animal we're up against with this coronavirus, and we already saw that players didn't take it seriously, and it resulted in where we are now with Rudy Gobert, you know, touching the mics at the press conference and being careless in the locker room, touching his teammates and their belongings now. And then you get Donovan Mitchell gets it, Christian Wood from the Detroit Pistons gets it, Kevin Durant gets it. So I think at this point, you know, carelessness is what got us into this situation. So at this point, it's better to just, you know, err on the side of caution and just wait until this thing blows over, however long that may be.
Now, the NBA, I didn't watch this. Did you watch this last night, Tanner? I guess they're doing like a 16-player NBA 2K virtual reality basketball. But that was actually, I think, on TV last night. I know you're a huge NBA fan. Did you watch that?
I did not watch that, but I do know that my guy, my favorite NBA player from the Atlanta Hawks, Trae Young, he won in round one, so I'm glad about that, but I did not watch it. But if my guy Trae keeps doing well, I might have to tune in. I wasn't really...
So you're not... you're not missing sports so much you're going to watch people play video games of a sport on TV.
Oh, I play so much Madden and 2K that it kind of becomes a drag for me to watch other people play it.
Right. Do you think you could beat an NBA player at NBA 2K because you play it so much?
Wait, that's tough. I mean, I do play on Madden and Hall of Fame on 2K, so I'd like to think that I'm pretty decent. I know how the games work, and I've been playing Madden since Madden 12, and I think 2K since 2K16, so that would not be my first rodeo. And I'd like to think I'm good at the game, but I don't really play competitively a lot. I'm more of like a franchise type guy, play like the franchise mode where you can take your team and build and develop, so I'm not really much of a competitive player, but I hop online from time to time and see where I'm at. So I'd like to think I could, but who knows? I mean, these guys, they live, breathe basketball, whether it's virtual or in real life. So I don't know. I'd probably get smacked, but I'd like to think I'd do okay since I've been playing for so long.
Well, but do you play realistically? I mean, obviously you play in the franchise mode, so it's multiple years. But I hate the people that make trades and overwrite the rules and get every great player on the Buffalo Bills, and then they go 16. That's not real. You can't just get every great player and put them on the bill. Of course you're going to win. That's not. I mean, I get Madden isn't realistic, but when you go out and get the top player at every position, it kind of takes the fun out of it. It seems, at least for me.
Yeah, no, I don't do that. I try and, build through the draft, and, if there's a good free agent that I think makes sense, I have a Buffalo Bills franchise right now because they're my favorite team, and, I signed Tyreek Hill in the offseason because I thought that would make sense. Because, Tyreek Hill, he's got that 99 speed. Josh Allen has that 99 throw power. It just makes sense. But, you can go out, in a franchise, and you can trade for an all-90 overall offensive line. You can go get, you can trade pennies for guys like Julio Jones and, George Kittle, some of the best players in the league. The trade system's really bad, and I know that, and I try not to abuse it. I'd try to keep myself honest and do things realistically. But it's tempting because, like I said, you can go out and trade, a bag of peanuts for some of the best players in the league. But I ain't about that. I try to keep it realistic.
I got a busy show for you today. Coming up in just a couple minutes, we will talk with Kevin Harlan from the NBA on TNT, NFL on CBS, Westwood One Sports. And then at 11 a.m., we will talk with John Murphy, the voice of the Buffalo Bills. If you have a question you'd like us to ask Murph, you can text your question to us at 363-TEAM. That's 363-TEAM. If you have a question for John Murphy, the longtime voice of the Buffalo Bills. Also, at probably around 11:20 or so, we should have the president on of Watkins Glen International, Michael Printup. Want to ask him about his thoughts on the events coming up at Watkins Glen. They normally open the track around this time. It's normally around Easter weekend or so, a little bit before that. So I want to ask him about that. The opening weekend obviously being pushed back, but they have races starting in late June. NASCAR comes in August. Of course, they also hold the Finger Lakes Wine Festival and the Finger Lakes Beer Festival as well. That's later in the year. So we'll ask him about that. I mean, I hope we can get back to normal for that stuff. We talked about the NFL a little bit. The draft is going to happen. It's going to happen differently. I just read a story the other day that the Saints are going to hold theirs in a brewery. So what they can do is in multiple rooms, right? So there's only going to be 10 people in each room because these war rooms have a lot of guys in it. You got scouts and assistants and GMs and front office and player development. So they're going to break it up so that they're not all in one room. So each team kind of doing it a little bit differently. But as we go to break, we want to do this. So obviously there's a little boredom out there, right? I mean, I'm watching classic strongest man competitions and lumberjack because there's just not a lot out there. But there's this new challenge out there. It's called the McDonald's Challenge. And I've seen NFL players do it, and I've seen NFL former coaches do it. Now, if you were to see Tanner you would think he would eat like a bird, right? But when we go to eat after a game, like he'll be like, if whatever restaurant we go to, it'll be like, I'll take a number 2, and I'll take a number 5, I'll take a large drink, and I'll be like, well, I didn't want a number 5. He's like, oh no, that's just for me. And can I have you got any cookies left back there? I'll take any of the cookies you got. And so he can eat. I mean, he can out-eat me, and I'm fat, and I'm way bigger than him. So tell me what this McDonald's challenge is and what you're going to try to do today on the show, Tanner.
All right, so next to me here, I have 4 large soft drinks with my favorite soda, which is Dr. Pepper. I have 2 large fries, 4 double cheeseburgers, a 20-piece chicken McNugget, and I am going to try and down that all in the next 90 minutes.
All righty, well, it is now 10:20, so you start. You're on the clock, and let me know if we're in the middle of talking with Kevin Harlan, and you gotta uke. You gotta let me know so we can get that on the air. I'm sure Kevin will be very impressed with what we're doing. So 90 minutes, and I don't know how long you have to keep it down for, but I would assume for a little while. So what are you going to start with?
Well, I've already just started digging into the fries here, so maybe not the best strategy.
I hear that.
I'm going to try and start small here and work my way up. So I'll go with the fries, then hit the nuggets, then hit the burgers, all while trying to get the soda down in a reasonable manner. Because if I try to take all these sodas down, like Jack Del Rio, he tweeted that he could probably get all this down in 20 minutes, the defensive coordinator of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know if I could get these sodas down in that amount of time without having a bellyache, let alone everything. So we'll see about that.
You're lucky you're young, Tanner. If I drank that many sodas, I'd be running back and forth to the little boys' room the entire show. I can't even make it through a night anymore without having to get up and using the facilities. That's when you know you're old. When like my uncle and my dad, man, they can't even sleep through the night. Well, now... Now that's me. So, okay, so I think that's a smart idea. Save the bread product for last, because I think that's gonna fill you up. You definitely are making me hungry. When's the last time you ate?
Thursday night at around 7 p.m. I haven't eaten anything, haven't drank anything besides a couple sips of water, so I have been withholding here from food for a while. And that's tough because usually on any normal circumstances I eat about once every 5 minutes, so that was a tough one, but hopefully it'll be all worth it for this.
All right, well, as Tanner starts gobbling down his food, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk with Kevin Harlan, want to get his thoughts. He's normally very busy this time of year with the NBA on TNT, with the college basketball tournament, with Western Sports. I want to get into that with him. We also have a ton of great classic games coming up on Westwood One right here on 92.1 The Team with college basketball and NFL. A great slate. It's on 92.1theteam.com. You can get the entire list. We'll fill you in on that as well. We've got Murph at 11 a.m. You can text me any questions at 363-TEAM, 363-TEAM. And then we'll talk with President Michael Printup at 11:20 as well. We got a lot to get to on the show. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
The service department at Maple City Dodge is open. Automotive service work is essential work, and Maple City Dodge is able to assist. They're asking customers to allow them to work with minimal direct contact, so they'll happily pick up, sanitize, and return your vehicle. The sales department is also available, but conducting sales remotely. Talk to one of the sales guys as they work from their homes, where they are making great deals. To set an appointment, please call Maple City Dodge or reach out through Facebook Messenger. Maple City Dodge in Hornell, proud to still be serving you.
Hi, Saver. Walgreens here. We like the way you save. Take coffee. You know it doesn't have to cost $4 a cup, so you make your own. And co-pays on Medicare Part D. You save up to $5 and get 100 Balance Rewards points on each prescription when Walgreens is your preferred pharmacy. Save smartly on Med D. Walgreens. Trusted since 1901. Copay savings on Tier 1 generic drugs available through select plans that include Walgreens as a preferred pharmacy. Points cannot be earned in Arkansas, New Jersey, or New York. Complete details at walgreens.com/balance.
Let's say you just bought a house. Bad news is, you're one step closer to becoming your parents. Soon you'll have a separate fridge in the basement where extra groceries are exiled forever. Remember that frozen lasagna? Of course you don't. It's been down there since 2008. Good news is, it's easy to bundle home and auto through Progressive and save on your car insurance. Piece of cake. Behind the lasagna. It's very old. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
If you own your own business and need garbage removal, contact Lippincotts. And if you live in a town where you have to take care of your own garbage removal, contact Lippincotts. If you need garbage dumpsters, Lippincotts rents them, and Lippincotts can come pick up the garbage too. These days, you don't throw old electronic items in the trash, and Lippincotts can remove your old electronics. Lippincotts, for garbage removal, recycling, hauling, removal of asbestos or electronic items. For a free quote, visit LippinCottsRubbishInc.com. LippinCottsRubbishInc.com.
Oh, there's a cat, and a black cat is taking the field. A black cat is running from the 20 to the near side, the 10. From the 39 in Dallas, here's a short throw down the middle, caught by Ingram. Caught at the 35, went to the 30. Now the cat running the other way, and so is Ingram at the 30 to the 25 to the 24-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. It's a catch run of 15. Now the cat is stopped at the 50.
So is it bad luck for the Giants? Is it bad luck for the Cowboys?
I don't know, but they've stopped playing. The players with hands on hips are watching the cat run and zigzag all over the field. He's at the 8.
Doesn't know that it was last Thursday that was Halloween. Thursday night football, not Monday night football.
He's a little bit late. Now he's at the 5. He's walking to the 3. He's at the 2. Now a policeman, a state trooper has come on the field, and the cat runs into the end zone. That is a touchdown. And the cat is elusive, kind of like Barkley and Elliott. There are state troopers all around this cat, which now climbs up into the stands, and the fans are running for their life. Now it goes back on the field again, and it's running in the back of the end zone, and it runs up the tunnel. Hey, somebody has run out on the field. Some goofball in a hat and a red shirt. Now he takes off the shirt. He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. He's bare-chested and banging his chest. Now he runs the opposite way. He runs at the 50. He runs at the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. The 20. They're chasing him. They're not going to get him. Waving his arms, bare-chested. Somebody stop
Look that
out.
man. Here comes the blue coat,
Oh,
Kevin.
they got him.
Here comes
They're coming
the blue
from the
coats.
left. Oh, and they tackle him at the 40-yard line. Oh, that was the most exciting thing to happen tonight.
I tell you what, that was a great call on your part. That was a great call.
Look at the police. They've surrounded this man like he has just robbed a bank.
I tell you what, he got a whole lap in before they got him. I mean, that was pretty good. I expected him to go down much sooner.
I hope it was worth it, my friend, because you've got a night in the clink coming up.
Hi, this is Duke Carroll. I'm a field judge in the National Football League, and you're listening to
92.1 The Team
with Joe Oriend.
Those are the dulcet tones of Kevin Harlan, Westwood One Sports, and a couple Monday Night Football calls right there. You know Kevin Harlan from the NBA on TNT, the NFL on CBS, college basketball in the NFL on Westwood One Sports. He's called games you would have been able to hear right here on 92.1 The Team in the past. He's one of my favorite. I think he's the best sports broadcaster out there right now, and I'm not just saying that because we're getting him on the line right now. I think he's at the top of his game. You know, a lot of people would say Al Michaels and Joe Buck right now are the best, but I truly believe Kevin is the best, and he's just so talented. He can do different sports, you know, the NBA, the NFL, college basketball, and I really get into how he has emotion and gets excited. Him and Gus Johnson, they get excited. Others would say, well, you know, you got to be more like Jim Nance, level and calm and steady and not too high and not too low. But I think that excitement and emotion is infectious as a listener. And I'm a radio guy, and I think Kevin does a great job on radio. He does just as good on radio, if not better, than he does TV. So I'm very excited to talk to him. It's an honor to get him on. Kevin, it's Tanner Saunders and Joel Oriend. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. Good to be on with you.
Kevin, you're normally an extremely busy guy all year, but this time of year you got the NBA on TNT and you're calling college basketball games, but like the rest of us, you're kind of isolated and sequestered and quarantined in your house. How are you doing, and what are you doing to fill the void of no sports and no work.
Yeah, I've found some other things to do, clean out my office and organize some files and get my NFL season and all the notes and spotting boards I put together, put in the right place and ready for next year, if there is a next year, and kind of take a breath from the NBA and do a little bit of work in regard to what's going to happen when the season resumes, hopefully sooner than later. Little things around the office, and while a lot of our family has come back to our home where we raised them, so they're kind of back with us, and that's been outstanding and very enjoyable. So, really the concern is for the people and the families and so many of the people in our country that don't have maybe a healthy situation right now and dealing with a lot of trauma, and you're constantly, like all of us, just so fixated on what we can do individually to hopefully slow, halt, whatever it is, this terrible situation that we're all going through right now, not just here in the U.S., but all over the world. So it's I think we all feel kind of like we're in one boat. We're all global citizens in the same boat, and this is a nice time for us all to lend a helping hand, and I think that's kind of our families, where our compass is kind of pointing right now.
If and when the NBA does reconvene and start up again, Kevin, and I know the NBA and their fans want that really bad. I mean, you now have NBA players playing NBA 2K live on TV now to kind of fill the void. But what do you expect to see when we come back? I mean, these guys haven't been able to practice together and get together. Maybe they're working out on their own, but it seems to me they're going to need a couple weeks to kind of build up again and get ready maybe for a postseason, whether that be a couple weeks of the regular season, because these teams are going to need to gel and get back together and get some chemistry before hitting their stride and going into the postseason.
Well, you bring up a very good point. They're not having organized practices, or none that we know of. I mean, we're all being told to stay apart and not, congregate. And I'm assuming that the majority of the NBA players are like that, worried about their own families, especially when you see stories like what is developing in the life of Karl Anthony Towns and his mother. So I think every one of us has something that we need to attend to that is greater than our profession, and I'm assuming that most of the players are making sure their family members, those close to them, are safe, sound, secure, healthy, and I don't know what it's going to look like. I know they're going to have to give them at least, at the bare minimum, 2 weeks notice and say, hey, we're all going to get together. And then it's going to be another 10 days, perhaps, to try to get back in shape to some degree. I don't know. If they can't play basketball, they can certainly work out by themselves in a solitary way in a gym, maybe with just one instructor in a gym, with just the two of them, and taking shots or working on, their bodies, weights, whatever it might be. But it's such a team game that I don't know where this is going to find physically and even mentally these players. We're all kind of in shock at what has happened and what's been taken away, and we're all trying to adapt. We've never been through this before. So I don't know that we really have a clear indication of how all that's going to be processed and then performed by these players. So you bring up an outstanding point. This is going to take a lot of thought. And you want quality play. You don't want to finish a season just to finish a season. I mean, there's got to be a purpose. And certainly these guys are young enough, and they can get back in shape, I would assume, on a pretty good basis. I'm assuming most are running and doing something physical, but to what degree, I don't know. And I don't think their coaches really know either. I mean, it's different, I think, in every instance. So this is a very perplexing thing once we are out of this most dire circumstance we're in right now as a country.
Kevin, you've covered a lot of NFL action over the years with the NFL on CBS and with Westwood One Sports, and you've covered a lot of Tom Brady games over the years. We wanted to get your thoughts on Tom Brady going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and being another legend, not retiring with the team he made his hay on. Now, we're no strangers to this in Western New York, with Bruce Smith finishing his career with the Redskins and Thurman Thomas with the Miami Dolphins. So with that said, what are your thoughts on TB to TB?
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have talked about this a lot about, in the past we've had Johnny Unitas and Joe Namath and Joe Montana and Brett Favre and Peyton Manning. We've had the best of the best, the absolute legends at that position and their careers in a different uniform. And so I guess what's happened to Brady, who may be the greatest of them all, change shouldn't be that eye-raising, but it certainly is going to be different after 20 years at one address, move and go to another team that you would never in a million years begin to picture Tom Brady as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. But sure enough, that's his new address, and that's where he'll be. I'd love to see him have the success that Favre, who came so close to a Super Bowl with the Vikings, and Manning, who actually won a Super Bowl with Denver, and Montana, who got to the AFC Championship game in a new Kansas City Chiefs uniform, have some success with the Buccaneers. His legend, his resume is an all-timer, but it would be kind of fun to see that story develop in a way that maybe no one ever thought, maybe not even Tom. But I know he's got supreme confidence. They bring him down there to be the quarterback in a steady hand, but they also bring him down there to help with the culture, to help, show the right way, to give a roadmap, to serve as a mentor. And I think he's going to enjoy that role. What he did in New England is indescribable, incomparable, and will be the stuff of his induction one day into camp. But what he could do for a franchise that has been downtrodden and has had very little success in the body of their careers as Buccaneers with that organization in that city, this could really be a nice story as it ends. And I think Brady's embracing that. He must, because you have to know what's ahead of you, and what's ahead of him is a lot of work to be done. But I think he's ready for that challenge at this time of his life, this time of his career.
Kevin, I'm sure you have a lot of people coming up to you and telling you your favorite calls of theirs. Is there any specific moment or game that you hear a lot that seems to be a common favorite amongst the fans?
The comeback against Atlanta in the Super Bowl, the interception by Malcolm Butler against Seattle for the Patriots, Mahomes and Kansas City and what they did this year from 3 straight playoff postseason double-digit deficits to come back and win. What Mahomes has done in his short career. A lot. A James Harden big shot. Watching Westbrook in his MVP season in Oklahoma City. The great seasons by Durant, LeBron. And going back to Michael, I call every year of Michael Jordan's career and every year of Kobe Bryant's career. I've been very lucky in that regard. And so it's different for different people. Different fans think of different things, how it reflects, what they are interested in individually. Sure. People out there are very nice, and we're fans just like they are. And, you mentioned before the tournament not being played, and, we hurt as much as the fans and the alums and the students hurt themselves. We love this time of year at CBS and at Turner, broadcasting the tournament and being in those arenas and doing those games and watching the Cinderellas and heralding great senior moments and all those things. And, they've been robbed from all of us, the kids, broadcasters, fans, talk show hosts like you two guys. So it's we're all kind of in the same boat, but it's fun that we're all kind of unified by whatever moments that, resonates with us individually. It's fun to be a part of that in some regards.
Well, coming back from commercial break, we played the drunk guy running around the field, and then the Black Cat game, the Black Cat scoring a touchdown on Monday Night Football with your call on Westwood One Sports on radio. It was a great call. I think everybody remembers that. It went viral after the game. You did a great job with that. You had fun with it. What do you remember about that call and the game and the cat call?
Well, I guess I remember that by the grace of God, I wasn't fired after.
Yeah, that's good.
That stood out. I don't know. When you're doing radio, and I love radio more than probably anything else I do. you're the eyes and the ears of the people. So if I'm sitting in the stands at the Meadowlands, I'm watching the players stop and turn around and hands on hip and look at this cat standing at the 50-yard line, then running right down the middle of the field to the other end zone. So, it's a radio is all about creating visuals and setting emotions and the tenor of your voice and your pacing and calling what you see. And if I was sitting in that stadium, that's what I would have seen. And so that's what I called. I mean, it turned out great and everybody liked it. You don't want to be on that and do that every time because weird stuff happens in every game. But when those moments come up, hopefully, there's a little switch or a trigger in your mind that says, hey, this might be a time to kind of have fun with this, or, maybe it's time to, go in another direction or whatever. And luckily in that particular case, it worked out and people enjoyed it. And for that, I'm very grateful.
Now, Joe Buck on Twitter has asked people to send him videos of them doing just ordinary everyday things around the house so he can get a little work in, a little practice, exercise those vocal cords so he doesn't become too rusty when it's time to come back. Kevin, if Joe Buck can do that, you would be awesome at it. If people sent you videos of them doing dishes or grilling or playing basketball one-on-one in their backyard or, doing cannonballs into the pool or throwing their buddies in the pool or trying to jump over a fence or whatever it would be, you would just do a great job of doing calls for that sort of stuff. Do you want anybody sending you any videos? You need any work? You need any practice brushing up on your play-by-play skills?
Well, you're sure nice to say that. I think people maybe want a little, I don't know, I maybe want a little bit of a break from broadcasters, and we're all kind of going through the same stuff, and my life is no more interesting than anybody else's, and I'm doing the same stuff everybody's doing. I'm, watching out for my family and taking care of the house and doing chores and getting to things that maybe I wouldn't normally have a chance to do because of this time off. So I don't know. I think actually a little bit of time away and out of the limelight is kind of good. And so I guess I've taken it to that degree. My daughter, who's also in broadcasting with ESPN, has got me to do a couple of quick sit-downs and on Instagram. But I've told her, I said, I'm not a big fan of social media, and I don't participate in social media. And but I know there's a place for it. I know it's important, and especially for younger people, and that's and I get that, and I applaud the people that do it well. I don't think I would do it well. She does, I don't, and so I think I'm just kind of good laying in the weeds here, waiting for our season to resume, and then get ready for that and do the best job at that I can possibly do.
Kevin, thanks so much. Tanner and I, big fans of yours. You do a great job on the radio. You do a great job on TV as well, but I think you're a radio guy. You just do a great job of painting that mental picture on radio. So you're not just a TV guy doing, radio broadcasts. You're a radio guy doing TV broadcasts, if you ask me. Keep up the great work. Thanks so much for coming on. I hope you and yours stay healthy. Thanks so much for giving us a few minutes of your time. It was fun chatting.
Yeah, take care. Thank you again for having me on. Nice to visit with you guys, and hope all your listeners are safe and healthy with the people that are with them, close to them, and it's fun to visit with people like yourselves that are in the business, know the business, and to share just some time away as we all kind of reset our own clocks and our own lives and try to hopefully conquer this sooner than later. Thank you again for having me on.
All right, thank you so much, Kevin. Be well, my friend. Kevin Harlan right there. You know him from the NBA on TNT, the NFL on CBS, and college basketball and the NFL on Westwood One Sports. You've heard Kevin many a time here on 92.1 The Team. We are your home for Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday night football in the Southern Tier, right here on 92.1 The Team, and would have been your home for the college basketball and March Madness in the Final Four if that hadn't come to an abrupt end as well. So very cool to get Kevin on. Nice chatting with him. Let's take a break. We'll come back with more. It's the Joel Oriend Show on 92.1 The Team.
It was my 5th birthday, and my dad was bringing home the cake. Should have been here a half hour ago.
The cake never made it, and neither did my dad. That was the day a drunk driver killed my dad. Impaired drivers take lives. Think.
Sponsored by the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee. Aired in cooperation with the New York State Broadcasters Association.
Steve, April is Diamond Month. Please give me a little refresher about diamonds.
What's this all about, Sue? I thought you were okay not having any diamonds of your own.
Oh, I am, and because of that, our daughters had more choices. When Jeannie got married, her engagement ring was a spectacular sapphire.
And Maggie's ring is diamonds.
Our daughters both love their engagement rings. Now tell me about this ring.
I love showing jewelry on the radio. This is a 14-karat yellow gold ring. The design is a Celtic knot symbolizing endless love and the interwovenness of the couple's lives going into the future.
Now tell about the diamond.
It's a for-real diamond.
Not one of your chrome zucchinis? Can you be a little bit more professional?
Well, if you must know, it's a 1.07 carat E-color SI1 clarity round brilliant diamond with a GIA lab report.
What does that mean?
It's a for-real diamond and very pretty.
Walker Metalsmiths is closed to the public for now, but you can still keep in touch on Facebook, Instagram, and at walkerscelticjewelry.com.
It's like a test, get to pick and guess who'll be the best. So many choices, many teams, north, east, south, and west. All this commotion's emotion with March Madness exploding. Cross my fingers, hope the teams that I am picking keeps going. Not taking advice from no one, I'm just going by my feeling. I get realistic with statistics, seeing who'll be achieving. I got my friends and co-workers seeing the teams I pick out. I see them giggle, but I got my plan all figured out. I look at every team's record, then the strength of the players, and in the end I'll win some money, or at least I'll say prayers. Some Cinderellas, I'm gonna have to pick some. If I don't, then I won't win squat. Yeah, tonight I'm filling out my bracket. A 12 always beats a 5. I gotta tell you, fellas, I'm about to take all your loot. I'm on a March Madness high, 'cause tonight I'm filling out my brackets.
Welcome back to the Joel Oriend Show on 92.1 The Team.
Definitely missed that. Filling out the brackets. Won my pool last year. Went with Virginia. Well, there was some heart stoppers, but won it. I think I only might have had one or two in the Final Four, but Virginia, by winning it, helped me win the pool. So a little bit of a tribute there. Missing the Final Four and the college basketball and the March Madness. Talking to Kevin Harlan there. It made me think about that. Also, before we get out of here, I want to do a tribute as well. We'll do that at the end of the show. I think it's worth doing. I think sometimes, as time goes on, we forget things, and it's always good to never forget, even when time has gone on. So we'll do that. We'll try to make sure we have enough time there at the end of the show to do that. Tanner, how are you doing? Where are we here with this food challenge? We're about 30 minutes in of the 90, so we're a third in. How are you doing?
Oh, we're struggling out here. I'm not even going to lie. It took me about 15 minutes to eat the first set of fries, so got that down. I've started working my way through the McNuggets. I've got one drink down, but I still have 3 more to go. Still have the 4 double cheeseburgers, more than half of the McNuggets left. So it's looking dire right now. I'm already starting to feel it, but I'm going to power through. I'll be darned if I let this thing defeat me.
We'll have Murph on here in just a couple minutes at 11 a.m. If you have a question for John Murphy, the voice of the Buffalo Bills, you can text me at 363-TEAM. That's 363-8326. All right? And we'll get him on, get his thoughts on the Bills, the offseason, the draft, so much. Now, Tanner, let's get to the do you have your trivia question for today ready?
Yes, I do.
All right, so once you don't have a mouthful of food, go ahead and give that.
All right, 1 second here. Boy, I was going to say earlier, I hope we have a lot of interviews lined up in the can for these 90 minutes, because this would be a bit disingenuous if I had to talk and eat at the same time, but we're going to make it happen regardless.
Okay. All right. All right. So what is your trivia question today?
All right. So in honor of having the president over at Watkins Glen, Michael Print, up on the show, Watkins Glen is almost synonymous with NASCAR, so I figured I'd do something that I have not done yet and throw some NASCAR trivia at you. Now, I think I can speak for both of us when I say we're not the biggest NASCAR fans in the world, so I didn't pick one out that I thought was too terribly hard, but should still be a challenge. Anyways, with that said, what was the first NASCAR race to be nationally televised from start to finish?
Boy, okay, that's a good one. Let me think about that, and we'll get back to that. First race, start to finish, nationally televised. All righty. If you have any guesses, you can text us at 363-TEAM, 363-TEAM. So I just got a text from Adam in the PR department for Wade Phillips. Hopefully we're going to get Wade on next week. Wade is pumping his book. Now, the book came out in 2017, but because Wade right now isn't currently employed, and, well, quite frankly, everybody's stuck at home, not doing anything, guess it would be a good time to read a book. Son of Bum, Lessons I Learned from My Father. Of course, Bum Phillips, a coach for the Houston Oilers and the New Orleans Saints. He was more successful with the Oilers than he was the Saints. Got to 2 AFC championship games, lost to the Steelers both times, and then wasn't very good with the Saints at all, but neither were a lot of people until Sean Payton got there. Jim Mora had a little bit of success with the Saints. But obviously Wade was a D coordinator in Buffalo for 3 seasons. I think it was 95, 96, 97. That he was the head coach from 98, 99, and 2000. And, of course, he was there during that transition, that rough period where all the future Hall of Famers were retiring. Kelly and Thurman and Andre Reed and Bruce Smith and Cornelius Bennett and Talley and, you can go down the list on both sides of the ball. So he had Flutie and Rob Johnson. And if you remember, they had given Rob Johnson a huge contract after he only performed in a couple games for the Jags, but he did a real good job. So he went, his record wasn't too bad, Tanner. I think he went 26-19 in the regular season. I think he ended up 9-9 in league play. Never had a losing season, but it was that Music City Miracle where he chose to go with Rob Johnson rather than Doug Flutie. Doug had started all season. He was 11-5, but he was just one of those guys. He was like, 5'9", and like, he couldn't see over the line, but he just kept winning. It was almost like people, management wanted him to fail so they could get Robin because they had brought him in as a free agent with a huge contract, and Doug just kept winning. And so in the wild card game, they start Rob. Now, Rob, and Tanner can give you a little bit of his stats, Rob didn't lose the game, but he certainly didn't win the game. It was a pedestrian game, I guess you would say. They tried to run the ball. He was a game manager, and quite frankly, without that Music City Miracle, at the end of the game, the Bills win that game, and maybe things go differently for Wade and Rob Johnson. So it'll be interesting to talk to Wade about that. But when we go back, I think the 17 years of just being really bad has kind of made people now look back on it, Tanner, and look back on it in a different light where during it, people were still used to Marv. They had gone to 4 Super Bowls, 7 out of 8 seasons with winning records. So I just think people's expectations back then were really high.
Yeah, they were used to winning a lot, in the early 90s with the Hall of Famers, Kelly, Reed, Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith, but some of that success had evaded them toward the late 90s, and then around the time this playoff game, like they had gotten bounced early in the playoffs a couple times, but they were still, competitive, still making the playoffs. That success that they had achieved previously in the 90s eluded them, but don't be mistaken, this was still, a good team. Like, their defense that year was one of the best in the league in terms of points and yards allowed, so they were still playing well. It's just not as well as they had in the early 90s. Some of, the Super Bowl runs, that type of thing evaded them, but they were still a good team.
Absolutely. And so when you go back and look at the game, Tanner, did anything stand out to you? I mean, was it just a fluke and the Bills should have won, or is Wade really to blame by starting Rob Johnson? Obviously, we'll never know if he started Flutie. If they would have won, I suppose maybe the same thing could have happened if Flutie was under center that game.
Yeah, Rob Johnson didn't really kill him, but he didn't really win them the game either. He went 10 of 22 for 131 yards. He did get sacked 6 times, and that was one of the areas of things that was in his control where he kind of failed them. You know, that Rob Johnson was notorious for that, hanging on for the ball, too long, taking a lot of sacks. He wasn't as great of an improviser as Doug Flutie was, so he was kind of like a sitting duck back there. And Javon Curse just was teeing off on him. He had 2 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. One resulted in a Tennessee missed field goal, but just made that defense have to work harder. And then another one, he was sacked in the end zone, and Javon Curse knocked the ball loose, and that resulted in 2 points, being a safety. So while he didn't throw an interception or anything, he still had a couple of those back-breaking plays that cost Buffalo. Go ahead.
When you look at the end of the game, they had the ball, they kicked the field goal to go ahead, and then they kicked off with, I think, probably 13, 14, or 15 seconds left. I don't remember that last drive specifically, if they could have ate more clock, if they had mismanaged the clock. And I'm interested in your thoughts on their strategy of kicking that ball short and high rather than squibbing it or trying to boot it out of the back of the end zone and making them start at the 20.
All right, so speaking of the last drive here, Rob Johnson, that was, his prime time. That was where he could have proven his worth and proved that Wade Phillips made the right decision, and he did so, I think. To start out the drive, they had good field position. They had the ball at their own 39. Then Rob Johnson hit Peerless Price for 14 yards to their own 48. Then Jonathan Linton rips off a 12-yard run to get them into Tennessee territory. Then Rob Johnson picks up 3 yards on the next play and loses his shoe in the process. And then on the next play, a 2nd and 7, shoeless Rob Johnson hits Peerless Price for 9. He got out of bounds at the 23 with 20 seconds left. And this is where I kind of scratch my head because they immediately sent out the field goal unit. They still had 20 seconds left, and Peerless Price had gotten out of bounds, so the clock was stopped. I think they could have gotten maybe a play or two, a couple more plays off, and, gotten to spike the ball to maybe get the ball down to around 3 or 2 seconds. So by the time you kick the field goal, the clock would have expired. So the time management there was a little suspect. They sent Steve Christie out with 20 seconds left. He hit the kick and then obviously gave Buffalo a 16-15 lead with 20 seconds left. And then, that unspeakable play happened, and the rest is history. But as far as the kicking goes, electing to kind of pooch kick it, Buffalo was kicking against the wind, and I went back and watched the game last night. In the first quarter, they were also kicking against the wind, and Steve Christie kicked it to about that same spot, around the same yard marker, the 25-yard line. So I don't think he had the leg to get it out of the back of the end zone with the fact that they were kicking against the wind. But I do think that probably, a squib kick, keeping it low on the ground, would have been a better idea in that situation instead of just going with the normal kickoff.
I think you bring up some good points, some valid points. I agree. It's been a long time, so it's hard to go back and remember everything, but you bring up some good points with that. Maybe we'll get Murph's thoughts on that, and maybe we'll get Wade's thoughts on that as well next week. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll have John Murphy on the phone with us, the voice of the Buffalo Bills. Longtime voice. He was the color guy when longtime play-by-play guy Van Miller was doing play-by-play, and then John took over after that. Let's take a break. You're listening to the Joel Oriend Show on 92.1 The Team.
Steve, what's the birthstone for April?
Chrome zucchini.
Yeah, right.
Seriously, CZ stands for chrome zucchini.
I don't think you are serious about anything. The April birthstone is really diamond.
CZ is an April Fool's diamond
You never gave me a CZ or a real diamond.
Well, I was serious when I asked you to marry me.
Which you did by reciting the proposal to a spinster script from an old Mark Twain spoof.
I'm a traditional guy. I just keep some older traditions.
I do love the gold and silver Celtic brooch you made me as a betrothal gift, and your proposal was very sweet.
Just because Sue doesn't have diamonds doesn't make her the cobbler's wife that goes barefoot. She has some of the best jewelry I've ever made.
For April, Steve has been reincarnating some of our estate diamonds. Since Walker Metalsmiths has been closed to the public, he is using previously loved gems and gold to keep the creative juices flowing.
I miss you guys out there, but you can still connect on Facebook, Instagram, and through our website at walkerscelticjewelry.com.
Have you written a book? You can become a published author with Dorrance Publishing, the nation's oldest publishing services company. Countless authors have trusted Dorrance for nearly 100 years to bring their book to the market. Our professional team will edit your text, design your book pages, and create an appealing, eye-catching custom cover. Plus, our authors benefit from a custom book promotion marketing campaign that makes your book available where people buy books, like Amazon and brick-and-mortar bookstores. So make this free call right now to claim your free author's guide to publishing. Don't wait another day. Take one step closer to realizing your dream of becoming a published author and seeing your name in print. You've already written a book, so the next thing to do is make this free call right now to Dorrance Publishing and get your free guide to publishing. Call right now.
800-482-8399. 800-482-8399. That's 800-482-8399. An adult elephant can weigh up to 6 tons. The average person, 150 pounds. Ever heard of carfentanil? It's a large wild animal tranquilizer. Illegal drug dealers lace heroin with it. It can kill the average human. If you or a loved one is addicted to opiates, even pain pills, don't wait until it's too late. Call the Detox and Treatment Helpline now. We care. Many of us have been where you are. We'll take you or a loved one away from the drug environment to a place you can clean out safely. Plus, we'll work with your insurance company to make sure you get the treatment you need. And with a Family Medical Leave Act, you're allowed by law to get away for help without telling your employer why. Call now to save a life. 800-210-7907. 800-210-7907. That's 800-210-7907.
Hi, I'm Lana Clausen, a farmer in Setanta, Kansas. The agriculture industry has come a long way. Advancements in science and technology have transformed the sector, creating new job opportunities and a demand for highly skilled workers. I am proud to support the next generation of ag leaders through the America's Farmers Grow Ag Leaders program sponsored by the Monsanto Fund. Each year, farmers can help local students by endorsing them for a $1,500 Grow Ag Leaders scholarship. The scholarship allows students to pursue their dreams of studying an agriculture-related field. Each year, the program provides more than $500,000 to students enrolling in trade schools and at 2- and 4-year colleges and universities. A variety of fields are eligible, including farming, education, agronomy, engineering, mathematics, data science, communications, and many more. I encourage high school seniors and college students to apply today by visiting growagleaders.com. FFA membership is not required.
Theo Bell doing a bumper for us. Take one. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
This is Theo Bell, 2-time Super Bowl champion, and you're listening to Joel Warren.
That's good. Let's have Pittsburgh Steelers in there. 2-time Super Bowl champ with Pittsburgh. Can we do that? Okay. Quiet on the set. Theo Bell, bumper. Take 2. 3, 2, 1.
This is Theo Bell, 2-time Super Bowl champion, and you're listening to Joel Warren.
That's good. You forgot the Steelers thing, though. Okay, one more time. What are you, getting paid per cut here or something? Here we go. 3 is Theo Bell, 2-time Super Bowl champion from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay. Yeah, no. Hold on. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
This is Theo Bell, 2-time Super Bowl champion, and you're listening to Joel Warren.
And there you go.
How you want
it? There you go. Thank you so much.
The Joel Oriend Show on 92.1 The Team.
And Theo was such a good sport, I didn't have the heart to tell him he still didn't say Pittsburgh Steelers. I had a feeling we could have been there all day if I had stuck to my guns on that. So he was a good sport, though, trying to give us a liner. So I didn't want to give him too much of a hard time. Tanner, let's jump to you. Tanner doing the McDonald's challenge. He's getting close to about an hour in. This is a challenge that NFL football players have said they can do. Jack Del Rio said he was going to be able to do this. List off again what you have to eat in 90 minutes and give me, first of all, how much do you weigh, Tanner, again?
Not much over $150, I don't think.
Yeah, I was going to guess about $105. So, but looks can be deceiving because he can cram things away when we go and eat. Because I try to be the veteran and the good guy, so I pay for our meals after the game. And let me tell you, this kid can eat. So I thought he could do this. So fill me in. What are you eating, and where are you at here?
All right. So I started out with 4 large soft drinks, Dr. Pepper, for those who are curious. I have 2 large fries, 20-piece chicken McNuggets, and 4 double cheeseburgers. I've gotten one of the 2 large fries down, and I am working my way through the chicken McNuggets, and I've only got 1 soda down, so I got to ramp it up here heading into these final few minutes.
All right. Well, keep us posted. Good luck. And the clock is ticking. You have until 11. I don't know what you win. Maybe you get next weekend off if you get this all down in the 90 minutes. So, a lot of this is because of, well, quite frankly, no sports. I mean, you're seeing a lot of classic games, which we'll tell you about here coming up in just a couple minutes. Westwood won basketball, NCAA games, Westwood won football games. The list is on our website at 921 The Team, and you can check that out. But people are doing like brackets of favorite cereal and lunch meat and cartoon characters. So let's bring on the voice of the Buffalo Bills. He also does his own radio show, a daily radio show on WGR up in Buffalo. Murph, how are you guys handling this isolation and no sports? You haven't, you guys haven't fallen to the levels of us where we're trying to eat so much we get sick on the radio, are you?
No, not yet. No, I mean we're fortunate. I do a daily show with Steve Tasker, the former Bills special teams great, and we got shut down. We didn't get shut down. We actually moved our show to home. I do it from my kitchen. Steve does it from his den. Our producer's in his family room, and we do it that way. But we've been fortunate over the last month or so that the NFL has been busy with free agency. Sure. Now the draft is just 2.5 weeks away, so we've had stuff to talk about. We haven't had to resort to McDonald's.
And that's what we're doing by the modern miracle of technology. I'm at the Farmhouse Studios, and Tanner is at his ping pong table in his basement, and so that's how we're doing it. Let's talk about the off season. It's been very busy. A lot of the experts have given it an A so far. Your thoughts overall on the moves the Bills have made?
Oh, I like them a lot, and it's funny. There's, and there isn't a whole lot going on in sports these days. But the guests we've had on our show, some of them are saying, "Wow, the AFC East goes through Buffalo now, and the Bills are shoo-ins to win the division." And Tasker and I think I maybe led the charge, encouraging Bills fans to just tap the brakes a little bit. They haven't won anything really yet. You know what I mean? I mean, it looks good. The moves they've made have been solid. They're poised now to have a good draft. They only have 7 picks and don't have a first rounder, but I think they've set themselves up pretty well after 10 wins last year to maybe get a couple more and perhaps win the division, but there's nothing guaranteed. I don't think they're odds-on favorite to win anything yet.
So they've done well in the free agency market. Let's talk about the draft, though. You're very close to the team. I know some teams are complaining that this isolation thing and the quarantine thing is not allowing them to go and see players in person. A lot of it's just on tape and talking to scouts. I just read a story that the Saints are going to do the draft from a brewery so that they can break up into rooms so they're not all in one war room. How are the Bills approaching this draft with not being able to, go to these pro days and see players in person?
Yeah, it's been different. We talked with Brandon Beane, the Bills general manager, the other day, and certainly the draft preparation is different now without the, they usually have 30 visits of prospects. Guys are interested in drafting, 30 of them stop by Orchard Park this time of year, and they get a chance to keep him there for essentially a day, talk to him, and put him on the blackboard, see what he knows about football. That's out the window. And the same thing for pro days. They can't go around and look at guys, the college prospects at their own schools right now. So they're kind of finding a way around it. They still have meetings. They do a lot of it on video and Skype and meet the players that way. And they still, they have the results of the workouts from the combine they can refer to. But I think the thing that bears mention is that every team's in the same boat, so nobody has an advantage right now. And the other thing is, and I think it's a really healthy perspective from Brandon Beane, he said, look, our problem's getting ready for the draft. Yeah, sure, it's a little bit different, he said, but the problems are dwarfed by some of the things going on in the country and in the world right now as far as the virus. So he's not going to complain about it, and I think that's a good approach to take. There's no point complaining about this. It is what it is. Everybody's in the same boat, and they'll make do.
Tanner, we'll go to you next so you can try to finish what you're eating, and I'll let you ask the next question after this. We'll go to a fan question right now from the text line, 363-TEAM. Terry wants to know your thoughts, John, on Josh Allen. So are we getting to a point where are we going to know who and what he is by midseason at the end of this year? Are we going to know he is the guy going forward now that he has, a lot of tools around him, or do we kind of already know what Josh is going to be?
I think we know a lot about what Josh is going to be. And the encouraging thing about Josh Allen has been his pretty steady improvement over the first 2 years of his NFL career. Now, we just had Josh on our show yesterday and talked to him a little bit. And he has had a lot of work with Jordan Palmer, his quarterback guru out in Southern California. And we talked to Palmer back at the Combine in February, and he talked about how their focus this offseason has been on the deep pass, connecting on the deep passes. So based on the improvement that Josh has made almost every year with the Bills, and based on how hard he works, I think he's going to get a little bit better. I think we know who he is, though. He's a very, very competitive. This may be his greatest asset, too. Very, very competitive player. He wants to win everything he does. And I think that translates to popularity among his teammates and to leadership for his teammates. And I think that may be his strongest attribute. He's never going to be the most accurate passer in the NFL. I've resigned myself to that. I think he is, too. But I think he certainly knows how to win, and he knows what it takes to win, and he knows what it takes for him to get better. And that's the most encouraging part, as I said.
Tanner, you got a question? Are you still mobile? Are you still sitting up? Do you have something you want to ask Murph?
No, I'm good to go here. So we touched a little bit on the off season and overall, but I wanted to get your thoughts on one specific move, and that was the Stephon Diggs trade, because Joel, we talked about this a little bit when the news first broke, seems to think that they gave up a little bit too much and that the Pagulas somehow got fleeced in that trade. So I wanted to know your thoughts. Do you think they were justified in giving up what they did for Stephon Diggs?
Yeah, I do. I think the trade looks, in comparison to what the Houston Texans got for Hopkins, it looks like the Bills gave up too much. But Dean talked about that this week, and he makes a good point. He was looking at a situation where, there's some receivers in this draft. He said there were probably 2, maybe 3 premium blue-chip receivers who could immediately come in and start and be difference makers. And he said where the Bills sat with the 22nd pick in the first round, they would be able to move up enough to get him. He said the cost of moving up to get those premium receivers would have been more than what we paid for Stephon Diggs, who's already got a track record in the NFL and coming off a couple of good years in the NFL. So they weighed that. There's always a certainty of knowing what you're getting when you trade for a veteran, as opposed to using a first-round pick on a guy who should be a premium player. And there's also, quite frankly, the uncertainty with the quarantine and the lack of workouts. And Dean said, "Hey, we thought about this too. We can draft a guy, but we probably won't have springtime, workouts or OTAs, mini camp. May have, full training camp, maybe not." He said, "I didn't want to take the chance that we get a rookie wide receiver whose rookie year might be compromised by never being in the NFL before. Instead, we got a veteran receiver who could step right in and play." And I think those things all played into it. They got a really good receiver, and everybody's excited about it. And they paid more than Arizona paid for Hopkins, but everybody would pay more than that. I think it was a pretty good trade.
Yeah, and I'm not a Bills fan. I'm a little more objective, and so and it's not apples to apples. And I understand, they feel the window's open, right? TB12 is vacated the AFC East. They feel like their franchise quarterback. They feel like they've got the tools around them. So I get it, maybe reaching and giving up a lot. I worried. It reminded me of the Sammy Watkins thing where I felt like they reached for Sammy. They mortgaged a lot. It didn't really work out. But like I said, not apples to apples. And I hope, quite frankly, they prove me wrong. And I know we're short on time, so we'll keep rolling here. John Murphy, host of the John Murphy Show on WGR. He's also the longtime voice of the Buffalo Bills. Got another text question here for Murph from Derek at 363, the team. So we were just talking in the last segment. We're going to have Wade Phillips on next week. He's got a book out, or it's been out, and he's now kind of going back out and promoting it because he was let go by the Rams. So he's got a little free time, and quite frankly, all of us do, sitting at home. Son of Bum is the book. Obviously, it was a tough time. It was a transition after Marv. A lot of the Hall of Famers were retiring. He never had a losing season. He went 10-6, 11-5, 8-8. Of course, that Music City Miracle, the Flutie Johnson thing. What do you remember about that? Because Tanner and I were just talking about it, looking over the stats. Did Johnson lose the game? Would they have won with Flutie? Did they mismanage the clock on that last drive? Could they have eaten the clock to the end of the game? And then, of course, the kickoff, it was a pooch kick, but as Tanner said, it looked like there was wind, so probably Christie couldn't have kicked it out of the back of the end zone to make them start at the 20. We wondered why they didn't squib it. But you were there in person. Just two things. One, your thoughts on that game, and then two, on Wade Phillips. And if he was coming on your show, if you had any question for him about the 3 years he was head coach of the Bills, what would you ask?
You really wanted me to go back 19 years to relive home run throwback?
Well, listen, Murph, I hate to relitigate it, but there's not much else going on,
It's a bitter memory, obviously, and it didn't go well, and a number of things should have been done differently. Wade wanted authority over that, so that's how that went down. But he's a very good coach. He's very popular with his players in the locker room, knows how to tailor practice. He had a very talented team here, too, but knows how to put together practices for a good group like that. And it's unfortunate that he's not here, and unfortunate that he's not coaching anymore in the NFL. I think he's 72, he said.
Yep.
So maybe he may not wind up with another job, but certainly one of the best defensive coordinators in NFL history, and I think a pretty good head coach, including here in Buffalo.
Well, apparently your cell phone provider and carrier is a Buffalo Bills fan as well, because they basically digitally scattered almost that entire answer for you, Murph. So you didn't have to say anything. you didn't have to say anything you didn't want to say, but we did get the end of it, and I know it was painful. You were there. The next question kind of goes hand in hand, but from Beth at 363, the team. You've been part of the broadcast for a long time as play-by-play and as the color guy with Van. Most memorable game that you have done in your career?
Game. So those two stand out. And another loss, I'll give you, the Bills Monday night loss to the Dallas Cowboys. I was doing play-by-play on a Monday night, and the Cowboys came up here and won it on an overtime field goal. So those have been memorable. And more memorable, I think, are more recent anyway, are, the win in Miami, the day that the Bills clinched the playoff spot in the 2017 season.
And finally, we'll go with one last text question here from Rick. Favorite city to go and do a game? So obviously, you hit the AFC East once each year, but it can be any AFC team or NFC team. When you get to go and spend a weekend in a city, which one's your favorite place to go?
Over the years, I've really learned to appreciate, believe it or not, Foxborough as a place to work. That stadium has perfect sightlines for us. We're right in the middle of the action, have a great view of the game, and it's probably my favorite road stadium to call a game from, just because you can see so well and you feel like you're right in the middle of the game. Around the country, I've always admired the city of Seattle. I think that's a great place to go. New Orleans is fun, obviously. I have friends in Phoenix, and I like going to Phoenix. So those would be my tops, I guess. We don't go to many of those places, although we are headed to Phoenix this year, I think.
Murph, listen, great job. I encourage people to check out your show, 550wgr.com, and, of course, the voice of the Buffalo Bills. Thanks so much for giving us minutes of your time answering our questions, and maybe we can get you on, hopefully, as we get a little closer. Murph, my final question, do you believe everything's going to go off without a hitch? Do you think the NFL will start on time?
I don't know. It's a tough call. I mean, they're talking like they plan on doing it. They probably have no other way to do it right now except to plan that way, but the schedule's supposed to come out the second week of May. That'll probably be released, and then we'll have to wait and see what it looks like around July or so to see if the season can start. I hope it does.
All right, John, be safe, be healthy, my friend. From mine to yours, I hope it all goes well and we can get through this, and we'll get to chat more about the X's and O's when we talk next time.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
All righty, there you go. John Murphy, great voice of the Buffalo Bills. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We got Michael Printup coming up from Watkins Glen International. We'll ask him how things stand at the Glen. Opening weekend was supposed to be either this weekend or next weekend. Races get underway in late June. NASCAR rolls in mid-August. So we want to talk to Michael Printup. I know a lot of people buy tickets in advance for these races, the SCCA, the Vintage Grand Prix, the Ferrari Challenge, the 6 Hours of the Glen, and NASCAR. So I want to ask him where that all stands. Let's take a break. We'll be back. It's the Joel Oriend Show on 92.1 The Team.
JC's Cafe in Hornell would like to thank all their loyal customers for their continued support. JC's Cafe is open for takeout orders. Phone 607-324-4428. That's 324-4428 for takeout orders from JC's Cafe in Hornell. That's 324-4428.
The service department at Maple City Dodge is open. Automotive service work is essential work, and Maple City Dodge is able to assist. They're asking customers to allow them to work with minimal direct contact, so they'll happily pick up, sanitize, and return your vehicle. The sales department is also available, but conducting sales remotely. Talk to one of the sales guys as they work from their homes, where they are making great deals. To set an appointment, please call Maple City Dodge or reach out through Facebook Messenger. Maple City Dodge in Hornell, proud to still be serving you.
At Sprint, our priority is keeping our customers, employees, and communities safe. During these uncertain times, we want you to get the great service you expect without leaving the safety of your home. Sprint.com makes shopping easier by offering free next-day shipping and no activation fees on our best new phone deals, like the amazing iPhone 11. Lease it for just $15 a month when you switch to Sprint. For now, shopping online at Sprint.com is the best way to learn about our plans, buy new phones, and get the services you need. Stay healthy and go to Sprint.com today. iPhone 11, 64 gigabyte, $15 per month after $14.17 monthly credit applied within 2 bills. Requires new line of service, 18-month lease, and approved credit. If you cancel early, remaining balance due. Offer and coverage not available everywhere. $30 activation fee, taxes, and restrictions apply.
Welcome back to the Joel Oriend Show.
Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, boys!
On 92.1 The Team.
Coming up here in just a couple seconds, very excited. Going to have the president on. That's right. I've had a chance to talk to him in the past on other shows, but We have not had the Prez on yet here, so we will chat with him in just a couple minutes as we get him on the line. As we know, our society and our sports world has just been turned upside down with COVID-19. Our life has pretty much come to a standstill, and so hasn't the sports world. More cancellations have come along. Wimbledon has been postponed. The U.S. Open has been postponed. So pretty much all of the major sports. Baseball obviously has been, put on pause. The NBA, NHL, MLS, they were all underway. They have been put on pause. The NFL's offseason still going on. Some free agency action, although that has kind of slowed down here over the last couple weeks since Tom Brady signed with Tampa Bay. Golf, tennis, NASCAR. Obviously, NASCAR only got 4 races in, and then they had to push the pause button. IndyCar has paused. It looks like the Indianapolis 500 will possibly be pushed back as well. So I thought with all of that, we obviously have one of the greatest racetracks in the entire world right in our backyard here in the Finger Lakes. And I thought, who better to get on to find out what's going on in the motor racing world and at Watkins Glen International than the Prez, El Presidente, to tell us and fill us in. Let's give him a big, warm welcome. On Twitter, he's a great follow at the Glen Prez. It's Michael Printup. Hey, Prez, what's going on?
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Now, we're rapidly approaching when the track would normally open, and you guys hold a great and awesome event when the track opens each year where people can drive their truck, their car, their vehicle to Watkins Glen on opening weekend and drive their vehicle around the world-famous Watkins Glen International Racetrack. I'm assuming that has been postponed right now? I don't know if there's a makeup date for that at this point?
Yeah, typically that happens in April, depending on when Easter is, so it would have been happening this weekend, but again, with the COVID-19 coronavirus out there, it's like every other responsible company, not only in this state but across this nation, people's safety and health. It's best and wise to just delay those programs, and we'll wait until we get to go ahead and move forward.
Now, are all you guys working remotely, or is there some essential staff like you and a few others still at the track?
Oh, yeah, per the governor's orders. We're all working remotely, and, it's amazing. We talk a lot more on the phone. We usually get the groups together once a day. So, because there's still a lot of work to do, and, that's what the downtime always is. We actually have just an extended downtime to get ready for our 9 events, So we've got a busy season with those 9 weekends, and we look forward to it. But fortunately for us, they don't start until the SCCA in the middle of June, so all indications point towards a safe and healthy opening in the middle of June.
NASCAR weekend is August 15th and 16th as the Xfinity and Cup Series rolls into WGI this year. And I know a lot of racing fans in this area, as soon as the dates come out for these races at Watkins Glen, whether it be the 6 Hours of the Glen or the GT or the Ferrari Challenge or NASCAR, they mark it on their calendar, they take the week off, they get the camper out, the RV out, they make sure it's clean, and they are ready to go. They look forward to it all year long. So NASCAR has pressed pause on their season after Phoenix, so they've missed several races now at this point. My guess is they're going to try to make some of those races up. Have you spoken to any NASCAR officials about those dates, August 15th and 16th? Are those dates right now still in place, or is NASCAR looking to push those dates back?
No, just in general. We have conference calls, obviously, with the corporate office in Daytona, and our leadership has pointed towards getting all the races in 2020. So I'm sure they're looking at all kinds of scheduling events. We don't have any concern at this point in meeting WGI. I think that being middle of August, because we got delayed 2 weeks because of the Olympics this year. Again, I think all indicators point to the fact that we'll be moving on and with racing, hopefully within the next 4 to 6 weeks. Let's hope. I mean, that was the original intention. So let's hope that that goes from there.
On the phone with us, Michael Printup, president at Watkins Glen International. You can follow him on Twitter at @TheGlenPrez. If you want to purchase tickets for the SCCA or the Ferrari Challenge or the 6 Hours of the Glen or NASCAR, you can log on to theglen.com or call 607-535-2338. So, Prez, for those that have already purchased tickets for the NASCAR weekend or the other events, what is the policy on this if an event has to get moved and they can't now attend that new weekend, or the event is just skipped and there's not enough time in the season to go back and run that race? Will people get a refund on their tickets, a rain check? How will that work?
I think because we're so late in the season, again, really starting with SCCA in June and IMSA last week of June, I don't think that we have to worry yet about those type of atmospheres affecting us. But we'll be prepared if the time comes. But I think our dates are fine. They're late enough in the summer and the fall or early fall that we'll continue on as business as usual, and that's what we hope to do. And we'll wait for government leaders to direct us into a safe and happy racing time. Let's call it.
So how much lead time would you and your staff need to get ready for one of these races? If the word came down that you guys could go and had a green light on one of these events and races, could you do it in a week, 2 weeks? Could you do it in 2 days, a week, 2 weeks? What would be the timetable for you guys to be able to get ready to host one of these races?
Yeah, it doesn't take long to set up the track. I mean, it's always ready to go, even in the wintertime, minus the snow. But obviously, we can't race in the snow. But it's we've got great Sunoco fuel already topped off in our tanks. We never run dry there, so we've got plenty of fuel for racers. Control tower, our technology, everything is there, ready to go. It's a matter of almost flicking on the switch. I mean, we'd have to go and just check the racetrack. Obviously, we have to sweep it and make sure it's all clean and ready to go. That might be the biggest thing and longest thing it might take, just because there's 3.5 miles of asphalt to take care of. So, to answer your question directly, heck, I'd like to have 2 weeks. I'm sure the crew would love to have 2 weeks, but if they gave us 3 or 4 days, I bet you we could figure it out.
I bet you could. How is the track looking? Did it make it through another tough New York winter?
Yeah, we actually just had a call the other day about that. The biggest problem with tracks in the Northeast, Midwest, when you have temperature freeze and thaw, is heaving, frost heave. I mean, we all see it, maybe with our fence posts in our yard or, your landscaping lights that pop out of the ground. So we have the same thing, only we have a lot of that kind of stuff. And the report back the other day after they inspected was it was very, very little frost heave. So that's good that we don't have to worry about damage on the racetrack. That's good for all the fences and poles and lights and everything else that's in the ground or connected to the ground. So I think that so far, knock on wood, that like I said, it wouldn't take too much longer for us to get set up and go.
On the phone with us, president of Watkins Glen International, Michael Printup. Prez, you and I go back a long ways. I know you love racing, whether it's got 1 wheel, 2 wheels, 3 wheels, 4 wheels, 20 wheels. It could be kids racing on their big wheels around the driveway. Are you getting your racing fix any place? Is Formula One racing in Europe or South America? Is there any racing going on? I know there's a lot of classic races that are airing on television of different racing leagues and levels, but how are you getting your motorhead fix right now?
I think all the big leagues that, from I know of, since you mentioned Formula One and, Super V8 cars, Australia, I know Formula One is shut down. I believe Super 8 is too, but I believe all the big name sports like NASCAR are shut down. So my fix, this is going to be funny, but if you follow Jordan Taylor, the IMSA racer, he's go-karting around. He has a big driveway racetrack in his yard, and he gives me a fix every now and again. And he puts his GoPro on and posts it online. So I get to see some good go-karting action by Jordan Taylor and sometimes his friends. And other than that, I haven't seen much. But the iRacing, you can't, even though I know it's not live and it has been live, but we all know what iRacing is. That's been awesome. I mean, look at what happened in Texas last week, and even Jimmy Johnson joining IndyCar on Saturday of last week at Watkins Glen, of course. Again, all virtual racing. That was pretty awesome. Hoping Jimmy stays with it and gets some more practice. But our NASCAR racing, iRacing has been phenomenal. So there's been a little fix. There's been a little fix there too. So that's kind of fun to watch.
Well, you led me right into my next question. Congratulations to you and your staff. I think this is quite an honor. IndyCar had a fan vote for where the first iRace would be held, the virtual race, and the fans voted Watkins Glen International to be the first racetrack. So that is certainly an attribute to you and your staff and the track. So you guys must have been ecstatic when you guys won that fan voting poll for the first track of the IndyCar iRacing series.
Yeah, we were. I mean, it's funny. We've been in a lot of contests. USA Today best NASCAR track, best wine festival. Obviously, we're associated with the region in terms of Finger Lakes. We've been voted the best vacation region. I think once and that's for a reason. The fans are doing the voting. And when the fans come and visit, or when people come and visit our area, whether it's for the lakes, the state parks, the vineyards, the agritourism, our cheese, it's just become phenomenal. Then, of course, throw a racetrack on there that draws almost 750,000 people a year, and it tends to add a lot of tourism to the area. So it's fun, and so the fans voting for Watkins Glen, to get back to that's where they all come from. They come from this big tourism effort. They know how special this area is, and heck, we continue to win number one or get placed first, and we won again in the IndyCar poll. So they're going to continue this. I think NASCAR has found a little secret sauce here, and no other sport can replicate what we're doing.
Right.
You can put LeBron on the court, but who cares? Because
Right.
Who's he playing? And,
Right.
And you know the score, right?
Right.
Even if they pull up old games, and not knocking the other sports, but bragging about our sport is probably the better position.
Right.
And our sport's phenomenal. It's strong. There's iRacing. I mean, fans are going nuts. I heard, now I didn't see it writing yet just because I haven't looked, but I heard IndyCar, they were online last week only. And then this week, they're going on NBC Sports. So that goes to show you what NASCAR just did. They broke a barrier. They had the largest e-racing attendance ever in any sport across the globe. So NASCAR's a place to be, man, and we're looking forward to iRacing. We all know we want to get back to V-racing.
Right.
But, we all have our hat of patience on, and we'll wait, but iRacing's a good vehicle right now.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about the non-racing events at Watkins Glen. WGI does a great job of hosting the Finger Lakes Wine Festival and the Finger Lakes Beer Festival. Are those still scheduled to go off with no issue?
Yeah, again, we don't see it with the Wine Festival, IMSA end of June, Wine Festival middle of July. I mean, everything keeps going on from there. Obviously, NASCAR beginning at middle of August. We have the Ferrari Challenge, the big Ferrari Challenge coming at the end of August. I just don't see the impact. You listen to other professionals, from Dr. Fauci. It looks, all indicators point to, we'll be up and racing sooner than later.
Thanks so much, El Presidente. I appreciate it. From mine to yours, stay safe and healthy. Thanks so much for giving us a few minutes of your time, and we look forward to events taking place at Watkins Glen this summer.
Yep, same to you, and thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All righty, there you go. Michael Printa, president of Watkins Glen International Racetrack. You can follow him on Twitter at TheGlenPrez. You can go online to theglen.com or call 607-535-2338 to purchase tickets to the racing events or the non-racing events, as I just mentioned, the Finger Lakes Wine Festival and the Finger Lakes Beer Festival at WGI as well. Right now, everything is scheduled to go off as planned, so let's hope that is the case. Let's take a break. We'll come back with more of the Joel Oriend Show on 92.1 The Team.
Mullen Factory Direct Floor Covering has been serving this area for many years. During life's ups and downs, we've never quite experienced anything like this. There's no official day or time set for us all to go back to business as usual, but Mullins wants you to know they're there for you and your flooring projects. And it's also a good time to say thanks to all the loyal customers and remind you to support all area local small businesses to help them stay afloat during this unprecedented time. Be safe and stay healthy from your friends at Mullen Factory Direct Floor Covering in Almond.
There's nothing like clean, clear, soft water. Soft water is better for you and your home. It makes your clothes brighter and whiter, and it makes your skin softer and hair shinier. How can you enjoy the benefits of soft water? All you have to do is call B&B Water Conditioning and Bath, 776-3037. Schedule a free, non-obligation in-home water analysis. And it won't be long until you'll be able to enjoy the benefits of clean, clear, soft water for drinking, cooking, bathing, and washing clothes. And it figures out to be just pennies a day. Your whole house will love it. It's B&B Water Conditioning, a Bath. Phone 776-3037.
With some recent revisions, our certificate sale is still going on. Save up to 50% off your favorite restaurant or local business. Pay online and we'll ship the certificates to you at no extra charge. Go to www.921theteam.com and click on certificate sale. Buy the certificate you want and request that they be shipped. Let us help you save money. And thanks for listening to 92.1 The Team.
Welcome back to the Joel Oriend Show.
When I wake up and my eyes open, it's like, oh no. Every day is an act of desperation.
On 92.1 The Team.
Well, glad Murph could join us. Glad to see that Canasarega is not the only place that doesn't have great cell service. Murph must have been in his bunker or something. It's so weird. It wouldn't be there in the start of his answer, and then just as he's wrapping up his answer, it come back just fine. So I don't know. Maybe Murph was in his bunker. I'm in the attic. Not toys in the attic, but Loudmouth the DJ in the attic at the Farmhouse Studios. Tanner is in his basement on the ping pong table. Tanner, how's it going? How's the challenge going? You have technically 9 minutes left here.
I think I'm going to have to call it because luckily for the people listening, while that interview was playing, there were some events that transpired off the air that are going to have to make me call this thing here.
Oh, man. I wish we had YouTube rolling on there. Well, I appreciate you at least muting your microphone so that Murph didn't have to. That might have been the first for Murph. He would have maybe remembered us forever. So we're not. Now, I do have another one that we can do next week, but I think this one's much more simpler. It has to do with jelly beans, okay? So I don't think this one's going to be quite as tough. I had confidence in you, but boy, that was a lot. I'm not totally shocked, but at least you won't have to eat for a while, Tanner.
Oh, yeah, I thought, going from Thursday night to this morning was a long time, but after today, I think it's going to be an even longer time before I even think about it.
Now, did you watch the Living Room concert on Fox on Sunday? They did this Living Room concert for people to raise money with this COVID-19. Did you see any of that?
No, I did not.
So some great singers. I thought it was a pretty good job. Kind of depressed me seeing the living rooms of famous people and how big they are. One guy had a living room in his studio in his house. So he has a living room inside a studio that's then inside his house. So I guess that means he has, 2 living rooms, I suppose. But I thought everybody was really good. I didn't buy the Backstreet Boys because, you want to talk about it being hard to synchronize 5 people in a different locations, harmonizing them. One guy's outside. He doesn't even have a microphone on. He doesn't have any earbuds in. I don't know how he could hear the other guy. So I think that might have been some lip syncing, but that's just my guess. But a lot of the other ones I thought were live. I thought Tim McGraw did a great job. Alicia Keys did a great job. Again, I look around and there's like nothing on their coffee table. Like, well, it's sparkling. You could have eaten off of the. Now, granted, I get it. Like, they probably can pay people to clean their house and stuff. But I was like, man, that's impeccable, immaculate are these living rooms. I think McGraw was on his diving board of his pool. Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day, he did an acoustic. You know, and they got their dogs coming into the camera and stuff. I thought it was very cool. I thought it was a great job by Fox. Raised a lot of money. But what I was shocked with, Tanner, is during that, while I was watching the show, there was a commercial for The Bachelor. So shouldn't The Bachelor be social distancing from all the girls that want to date him? I mean, that seems to me like it's counterproductive. I mean, I always thought you might catch something else from The Bachelor than COVID-19, but I was a little shocked that there's. I mean, that must have been, I guess, pre-recorded, but. Even so, I mean, I guess if it was recorded last year, I suppose, and put in the can. But I was just a little surprised that The Bachelor was still being taken place. Although, again, it could have been done in advance, I suppose. So we're going to get off here in just a little bit, and I want to do a tribute. And I'll tell you about that in a minute as we get to it. Tanner, one more time, hit me as we just had Michael Printup on from Watkins Glen. Go ahead and give me your Tanner trivia today.
What was the first NASCAR race to be nationally televised from start to finish?
I'm going to go with the Daytona 500.
Are you sure?
No, I'm going to go with the Indy 500.
Well, you should have stuck with the Daytona 500 because that was the correct answer. In 1979, the Daytona 500 became the first NASCAR race to be nationally televised from start to finish. Richard Petty took first place after the two leaders going into the final lap, Cale Yarborough and Donnie Allison, crashed while fighting for the lead.
All right, very good. I should have stuck with it. That was my first inclination. They always say, go with your first thought. So, there you go. Daytona 500. First race to be nationally televised. So, that is the Tanner trivia today. And, you know, it's interesting when you go out. Tanner, I don't know if you've gone out much. I know you went out to get the food and stuff, but I had to go out for a doctor's appointment. So I called the doctor's appointment and to make sure that they were still seeing patients because I was going to see an eye doctor because I have a congenital severe eye condition. New York State considers me legally blind. Yes means I'm illegally sighted. So I have something that, I have glaucoma, so the pressure has to be checked, and you can't really do that, over the phone or anything like that. So I called and I was like, are you, am I still supposed to come in? And, the woman was like, well, we're only seeing essential patients. Let me check. And so she comes back and, she's like, yeah. The doctor wants to see it, which on one hand, Tanner, made me kind of feel like good, right? Kind of like special. And then on the other hand, I'm like, that's not great that I'm like so bad that like I still have to be seen even in this horrible time. And so I go and, I have this condition that's, extremely rare. It's like 1 in 40,000 people get it. So if you multiply that out, it's like, 25 in a million. And, my parents, when I was young, they were always like, hey, you got to think, don't think of it as a bad thing. Think of it as, a good thing. And that, you were picked for this for a reason and it's going to make you better and a better person and stronger. And quite frankly, I think they were just excited that, because I had that disability, they were going to get a check from me being their kid every month, not just once a year with taxes. But so nonetheless, right? So I have to see, multiple doctors. I go to Cincinnati. So we go to this doctor, and, they got the doors locked, and they all have their masks on. And it's hard not to, and I saw this in size, too, when I was with my son. You see people with scarves on or masks on and hoodies on. And, at first it's like you take offense when like a doctor has a mask on because you think, there's something wrong with you. But it's a smart and responsible thing to do. It's nothing necessarily personal. So so I'm in the room, and so they're doing a lot of telemedicine, right? So they're Facebooking with a lot of people, and especially the older people, right? That they don't want to come in and have contact with, and if they have it, they're going to give it to the older patient. And it was just so they're trying to FaceTime with some of these older and I'm hearing the doctor and no, ma'am, you have it upside, the camera's upside down. You need to turn the phone. No, you need to turn it around so it faces you. I'm seeing your cat right now. You need to point it at you. No, just just hit the button and it'll just show you. You don't have to turn the and they're trying to be, so patient, with these, older patients. And, no, ma'am, no, I don't have time. I can't see your garden today. I appreciate you wanting to show me that, but, I have other patients. And now, Tanner, your grandmas, I don't know if maybe this is an Italian or Irish thing, but when I would go to my grandma, well, first of all, so then like these patients, and when you get older and you're not working, you don't have a lot to do, right? So when you have like an appointment that day, it's the biggest thing on your docket that day. So when you get that age, you normally like show up to an appointment like 3 hours early because there's nothing else to do. So these people are calling in way early and they're like, no, it's not your time yet. And, but my grandma was like this, and I don't know if your grandma was like this. So when you would go over to the house and my grandma would be, she's always excited. What do you want to drink? And I'd be like, I take water. And she'd be like, oh, well, I have, tap water, I have bottled water, I have carbonated water, I have sparkling water, I have uncarbonated water, and I'll be like, Grandma, I just take whatever you got. And then it'll be like, I'll have a sandwich, and it'll be like, what kind of meat do you want? I have bologna, I have ham, it was just like, she would have 50 choices of were your grandmas like that when you went and visited them, Tanner?
No, not really. Usually I spend a lot of time at my maternal grandparents' house, and, they know that I'm a simple person, so they'll have a Dr. Pepper in the fridge for me. They'll have some SpaghettiOs in the pantry. They'll have, a little box of Skittles in another cupboard, so, they know what I like, and usually whenever I come over, they have everything stocked up, so I can just grab it, and, they don't really, go to that extent, but they know I'm a simple man, so they keep the things that I like. They keep my essentials. They have them handy.
I think it must be an Italian or an Irish, because my grandma would be like, do you want some pasta? And then she'd go down the entire list of every sort of linguine and spaghetti and or cheese. We got the regatta and we got the Parmesan, and so it was literally like going to a store or a restaurant. She always made sure she was super prepared with everything. So it was weird, going to the doctors, but it's one of those things where some people still have to go to the doctors, but this doctor office, which is in Canandaigua, was being very precautious. They had the doors locked, so you do have to get out and do certain things. But you got to be on your end responsible, and hopefully the place of business that you're going is very responsible. It's just very interesting to see these eye doctors. They're trying to look at their patients on like FaceTime and stuff, and some of the older patients weren't totally sure what they were doing and how to do it. But it was An interesting adventure, none the least. We do want to say thank you to our guests today. We want to say thank you to Kevin Harlan, voice of the NBA on TNT. Also, he does the NFL on CBS and Westwood One Sports with the NFL and with college basketball. Also want to thank John Murphy. He hosts his show, I think it's noon to 3 every weekday on 550 WGR, WGR.com. He also is the voice of the Buffalo Bills. And Michael Printup, the prez of Watkins Glen International. Now, coming up next week, we plan on having Jeff Striegel, an announcer from the Motor Racing Network, on. We'll talk a little bit more NASCAR with him. And we hope to have Wade Phillips on as well, a longtime defensive coordinator and head coach in the National Football League as well with the Buffalo Bills. All right, I think that does it. Tanner, do you have today in sports history?
Yes, I do. So we'll get that out of the way right here. Today, in 1974, Hank Aaron took Babe Ruth's home run record by hitting his 714th. In 1986, Wayne Gretzky set an NHL record with his 213th point of the season. In 1989, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played his last NBA game in Seattle. In 1994, LA Dodger Darryl Strawberry began substance abuse treatment. In 2011, in the 73rd NCAA Men's Basketball Championship, Connecticut beat Butler 53-41. Huskies point guard Kemba Walker scored 16 points. And in 2016, in the 78th NCAA Men's Basketball Championship, Villanova defeated North Carolina 77-74. That was, of course, the Chris Jenkins buzzer-beating 3 at the buzzer. Also, Wildcats guard Phil Booth had 20 points. Birthdays today. In 1924, Gil Hodges was born, former first baseman and 8-time MLB All-Star, a World Series champion in 1955, 59, and 69, a Golden Glove Award winner from 1957 to 59, and was a manager of both the Washington Senators and New York Mets. And the inspiration behind the McDonald's challenge for us, the man who said he could down that ungodly amount of food in 20 minutes, Jack Del Rio, former linebacker for the Saints, Chiefs, Cowboys, and Vikings, and former Jaguars and Raiders head coach, current Redskins defensive coordinator. He was born on this day in 1963.
A great lineup of Westwood One March Sadness games, some incredible games, some old classic games, and some NFL games as well that you can hear on 92.1 The Team. And one of great local interest is that 1993, I think, divisional game against the Houston Oilers at the Ralph, where the Bills came back from a 35-point deficit at halftime. That does it for us. We'll sign off here, and we'll talk to you next week.